I speak for all of the members of our staff and of our clergy, that we love you all, and we will do what we can to continue to minister fully to our community, our beloved community.
Everyone who lives, works, and spends time here in Lower Manhattan is an important stakeholder. As a church with pretensions towards greatness, our entire nation are stakeholders, and most of all of humanity are stakeholders. Standing at the most symbolically important crossroads in our nation, Wall Street and Broadway, at the geographic center of Lower Manhattan for over 300 years, far longer than any other institution in New York City history, confirms how wide and deep the range of Trinity's stakeholders should be. That is religion for our 21st century. Religion that evolves to meet the needs of humanity, not stuck in the ancient past forever. You might think that is true about Trinity, but in fact, Trinity Wall Street is largely isolated from, walled off from these larger communities. Most of all, from its primary community, Lower Manhattan. Right now, Trinity is completing the most extensive and expensive restoration of the church building in its more than 320-year history, all that time at the crossroads of Broadway and Wall Street. Most of the details about the restoration are shrouded in secrecy, as is most decision-making at Trinity Wall Street.
There's a whole range of different kinds of tools and processes one can use, from line like this, where individual marks can be applied to the surface, using areas of tone and working them in with the badger brush. And then the other thing, of course, is taking off the paint again. It's in many ways what one sees with glass paint is the light rather than dark lines. It makes more sense to work back to light. And so putting on areas of paint like this can then be cut back or rubbed back to get to the underlying light.
So whoever is presenting for 75 Broadway, if you can unmute yourself and you can start presenting.
Okay. I'd like to thank your committee and Community Board 1 for this time to describe our proposal for the Trinity Church East stained glass window. This is part of a fairly comprehensive restoration of the church. And this is sort of the last element, one of the last elements of the project. My name is Jeffrey Murphy. I'm a partner at Murphy, Burnham and Buttrick Architects. We're the architects for the restoration at Trinity Church. And I'm also joined by Reverend Philip Jackson, who is the priest in charge and vicar of Trinity Church, and my MBB colleague, preservationist Catherine Malashewski. The most compelling reason for the new east window is to convey the mission of Trinity. The church typology, by its very nature, is designed to convey symbolism, meaning, tradition, and theologies. An opportunity to reinterpret the Episcopalian tradition of east-facing windows, and I'll go into that in a little more detail. And finally, the artwork is appropriate in this place and time, and we'd like to show you why in the presentation. Reverend Jackson, next, please.
Thank you. This evening. When I began to think about a scriptural text for the theme of this window several years ago, our historic mission as an Episcopal church in New York City really was front and center. And this text that I chose from the Gospel of Matthew 25, which is known as the parable of the talents, almost immediately came to my mind. In that parable, and I won't exegete it fully for you, but in that parable, the essence of it is that we all have been given gifts by God, and it is our responsibility to invest them wisely. And the essence of it is that we all have been given gifts by God, and it is our responsibility to invest them wisely. The essence of it is that we all have been given gifts by God, and it is our responsibility to invest them wisely. And there are some ways that the passage goes on after verse 30 to tell us that we have invested them wisely now. And especially now, right now, this text really speaks perfectly to the mission of Trinity Church. And especially now, right now, this text really speaks perfectly to the mission of Trinity Church. And especially now, right now, this text really speaks perfectly to the mission of Trinity Church.
Jennifer, can you advance? Thank you.
Sure.
So I'll run through the rest of the presentation. This is just an image of Trinity Church as seen from, and the east window as seen from Wall Street. And so this is the design, and the design came as a result of an international design competition. We initially considered close to 20 artists, and a short list was made, and Thomas Denny, who was a quite prominent English stained glass artist, won the competition. And what we think is so interesting about this is that we were very concerned about the piece being deferential to the architecture of Trinity Church. And this is just a section through the window showing that there's a light box illuminating it behind it. It's an LED, essentially an LED wall that can bring down the light very low or pop the, make the window brighter if they choose to. I'll just end by saying that the east window contributes to the mission of Trinity Church. The new design is appropriate and deferential to the existing historic fabric of the church. The proposed east window design is consistent with this tradition. Trinity's success, longevity, and relevance since the 1690s has relied on a certain evolution and change. The proposed east window design is consistent with this tradition and evolution as Trinity Church looks to the future. And evolution as Trinity Church looks to the future. Thank you.